All right, so here we are at Autonomy Quest again with Phoenix. Phoenix, it's been a while since you've been a guest on Quest, and I was looking through the backlog of episodes, seeing who I could book for this week. I noticed that you haven't been since episode number 6, and now we're almost to episode 30. So I
Holy
wanted to bring you
cow.
back and kind of get, a little bit of a catch-up session with you to see where you're at these days, because I mean, man, if there ever was somebody that's been through autonomy and has come out the other side, and the first person I think of as like a success case is you. And I kind of wanted to congratulate you on your success and get you to kind of talk about your life before autonomy a little bit and where you were at when you were joining the course, because it's really impactful when people hear about where you're at now to hear where you came from. So please let us know about that.
So initially, when I first was considering joining autonomy, I was driving, it was COVID times. I was driving a Sprinter van doing expedited freight. It was really conducive to my Vonoist um, principles and values at the time, which was to make yourself invulnerable to coercion by maximizing your invulnerability to the coercion of not only the state, but also private actors. And you implement it through radical lifestyle changes, one of which is van nomadism. So a buddy of mine got me a job with a expediting company, a transportation company, a logistics company, and I jumped on the road right when COVID kicked off. And so it afforded me a lot of time to consume content 23, 24, 27, 32 hour drives. You got a lot of time to watch podcasts. And so it was right in the early days of Grand Theft World. I watched my first episode. I think it was episode 14, 15, something along those lines. And I loved it because there were 6, 7 hours and it would just chew up the road. And so from there, I started transferring over to a lot of the Peace Revolution episodes as well. And I was able to get, I think, up to 64, 65. And those are 20-hour podcasts. So that's a lot of content to go through. And, there's a lot of stuff. So sometimes you listen to it a couple of times. So there's multiple of those that I would listen to on multiple occasions, as well as the Grand Theft World. And Rich kept talking about autonomy. And it wasn't the first time that I had heard about Rich and his educational opportunities. I think I first learned about Rich back in 2016, maybe 17. He was doing a interview with uh, Grandpa Archie, the grandfather of anarchy, Mr. Ernest Hancock, on Declare Your Independence. And he was discussing, I believe it was the tragedy and hope community at the time, as well as the concepts of the trivium. And it seemed really interesting. And I really liked what he was discussing with the trivium, but I was a neophyte into libertarian thought and anarchist thought, and I was focusing more on economics and different aspects at the time. So I kind of put Rich's content on the back burner. And fast forward a little bit, and I'm watching an episode of School Sucks podcast with Brett Venat. And Rich is on again, and they're discussing his other educational opportunities, as well as I think it was the precursor to Grand Theft World, where I think they were still talking about the Peace Revolution, or it may have been something along the lines of Brett's university or the School Sucks program that he had prior to the graduation ceremony at Midwest Peace and Liberty Festival. But once again, Rich brought up the idea of the trivium and how to actually learn anything. And I was like, this is amazing. I have to learn this stuff, but I'm focusing on other stuff. So I put it on the back burner again. COVID time kicks around. I'm listening to Grand Theft World. I get a load up to New Hampshire for Pork Fest, and I've got maybe 2, maybe 3 days that I can take off there, because getting a load out of New Hampshire or anywhere on the East Coast, especially New England, is a pain in the butt. You got to drive almost all the way down to Philadelphia just to get a load out. and deadheading, it's a lot of money. And luckily, the contract company that I was working for, they paid gas, so I didn't mind it. So I go up to Pork Fest, and I meet Rich, and I meet Lisa. And at the time, I was experimenting with um, spray paint art. Oh, this kind of nice, cool stuff in here. Like, crud, did I just break it? I broke it. That's all right. But I was doing spray paint art, and I wanted to do a piece for Rich, and so I made a nice little autonomy piece. And Rich was like, this would be a great opportunity for you. I really think you should talk to Lisa. And so Lisa and Arbucheski and I, we went on a walk. Little did I know it was essentially a blueprint call. And she dug into my situation, what I've been dealing with, what I actually wanted to accomplish moving forward, which at the time was creating a radio show that was able to host and put a spotlight on the best liberty oriented musicians out there, because there just wasn't a platform for them at the time. And so she convinced me, hey, there's no time like the present. I'm making decent money. I was making about $5,000 a week. Um, Never seeing my children, maybe one weekend every 2 weeks. I'd go home to see my kids, but I had the money to spend. And so I put a down payment, set up a payment plan, enrolled in offered a work co-op as well, and started getting into autonomy. And within the first 2 lectures, I was hooked. I knew I'd finally found my actual like long-term home. And by the time we came to lecture 8, my world changed. I always knew since I was in high school that the path to happiness is through serving others. I went through a really deep religious journey when I was in high school. There was a large group of evangelical Christians. It was called the Firepower Group. A lot of them were students, and they had a youth group, and I really was drawn to it. And I remember being at one of the worship sessions, and they touch you, and you pass out, and you have all this stuff. And looking back, I realized it was cultural conditioning. It was social conditioning. It was group dynamics that was causing that. Um, but it didn't really dissuade me from the religious aspects of it. So I started digging into all of the different backgrounds and the different types of religions. I read the Bible, I read the Torah, I read the Quran, and I finally settled on Baha'i. Baha'i was kind of a religion that read from all 3 religions, and it followed a gentleman from the 1600s, Baha'u'llah. And through all of that, I developed an understanding that the highest value that you can create in life is service to others. Service to others is service to God. And I kind of drew away from the more religious aspects of it. I kind of, the more I read into Baha'i, the more it seemed like the one world religion at the end of the Revelations. So I kind of faded back from that group. Um, and because of that experience, having the understanding of the service to the world, and that being the number one way to create value in the world, when it came to lecture 8 and Rich opened up my understanding of how to conduct high value ethical sales, high value ethical problem solving, my entire world changed. I had a brand new direction. I had a new lease on. I was excited. I knew that this was something amazing. And I probably listened to lecture 8 about 20 or 30 times over the course of a month. I just played it on repeat all the time, every single day. It was what I would wake up to, and it was what I'd go to sleep to. And through that, I really embedded a lot of the concepts. I developed the grammar. I started applying some of the concepts. I started really delving into the logic behind it, and it all fit. with the morals that I had developed through becoming an anarchist, becoming someone who was committed to integrity and honesty, and everything that Rich really had outlined in his sales process made sense. And so after I graduated, I was hopping around jobs. I spoke with a friend of mine in Virginia, and it was a really dark time. I was missing my kids, and he was like, just stop, man. Go home. It's okay. Like, you can get off the road. I know you're making good money, but if that's where you want to be, that's where you should be. And he convinced me to leave the road, and I called my boss, and I was like, hey, I got to get off the road. This is my last week. Get me a load back to Chicago. And within 4 days, I was out of the van, and I was back at living with my kids' mom at their place. And oh God, I don't have a job now. What am I doing? I've got two children I got to support. I was giving her almost $1,000 in child support. Now there's nothing coming. That's not going to work, especially if you're cohabitating with them. So I started grabbing jobs, whatever I could. I took a job with Amazon. I know, I know, I know. Please forgive me. My knees haven't forgiven me yet. That's for dang sure. But I took a job with Amazon, and I worked there for about 5 months, 6 months, and oh my God, I'm 42 years old. My knees can't handle that, because you have to run. If you want to finish your route before, in any decent time, you have to run from that van up to the house, drop it, take your photo, and get back to the van so you can go to the next house. You got to make 400 stops. And so I just couldn't do it. So I was looking at like gig work, and I found a gig working for a catering company. It was a little temp job, but I signed up, and I'm a natural introverted extrovert. And so I did really well with it. I've been in food service many times in the past, so I crushed it. And after being there for about 2 hours, they asked me to come back, to be a regular, and basically they hired me on the spot within 2 hours. And I really enjoyed the catering work. It was for an amazing barbecue company, City Barbecue. They're out of Little Rock, Arkansas, I believe. They've got several different places. I think they're expanding in Ohio. They've got like 5 or 6 stores here in Illinois, in the Chicago suburbs. And I really enjoyed the catering work, and it was fun. It was great food. Um, I learned how to trim a brisket in the proper way, cutting off the tips and taking out all the fat from the inside, and it was awesome. But it wasn't paying the bills. So I was going to take my job back at the bar that I was working at, because I knew, I could go in on any shift and make $200 to $300 a night, and I'd be okay. So as I was transitioning from City Barbecue back to the bar, I got a whim. I was like, you know what? Let's take a look. Let's see what kind of sales jobs there are on Indeed. Not even really thinking anything would come from it, but I found a firm that was looking for a salesman. They call it a client relationship manager, and I applied. And they had me do the in-depth psychological evaluation, and I did a phone interview with them, and then they're like, okay, yeah, I like you. We'll do the interview. We'll do the evaluation. I did the evaluation. Surprise, surprise! I came back as a maverick. Somebody that just basically does whatever they want, does their own thing, and is like high levels of integrity and all that stuff. And so they called me in for an in-person interview, and I was sitting there contemplating, can I actually work for an attorney? I'm an avowed black flag anarchist. I reject every single aspect of the state because it is based in violence. Can I really do this? Can I morally justify working for an attorney? And I was thinking back to one of the biggest influences that I had in the legal system, a gentleman by the name of Stephan Kinsella. He rails against intellectual property, and a lot of what he talks about is also decentralized court systems and how to actually provide legal services without the state. Um, and I thought, well, the areas of law that this attorney practices are estate planning, guardianship, and probate. What are those things really? Estate planning is outlining who do you want to have your property when you die? How do you want your assets handled? Who do you want to take care of your children? How do you avoid paying capital gains taxes and giving money to the state? Okay, I dig all that. I can do that. What's guardianship? Guardianship is being able to make decisions for other people when they no longer have the ability, when they no longer have the capacity to consent, to make decisions for themselves. How do you do that in a stateless society? How do you establish the fact that somebody doesn't have the ability to make voluntary interactions anymore? And it intrigued me. Probate. Probate's the process of transferring your assets when you haven't outlined who you want them to go to. All of these aspects of law, they're going to exist without the government. The government is nothing more than the monopoly of products and services that we all want. Estate planning, probate, and guardianship are still services that we want. They're still services that we find valuable. So through all those mental gymnastics, I was like, okay, fine, I'll do this. But I'm not going to lie to him. I'm not going to BS him. So I went into the interview fully ready to not get the job, because my fallback was, no, I'm just going to tell him I'm an anarchist. I'm going to tell him exactly what it is. I'm going to tell him exactly the process by which I'll do their sales. And I'm going to tell him I'm not, my goal is not to put numbers on your board. My goal is to identify your client's problems, understand their situation, clarify their goals, and help them make a decision and point them in the best direction for them, not for you. And I told him flat out, I'm not going to sell your product. I'm going to help your clients make the right decision to solve their problems. If that means us, awesome. If it doesn't mean us, I'm going to point them in the right direction. And I don't care what you think about that. 2 days later, I had a offer letter in my email, making $90,000 a year, $25 an hour base plus bonuses, 401k, medical. I got to drive a half an hour in the morning. That kind of sucks. But that was how I became senior client relationship manager, vice president of sales. I'm the only salesperson there, so I suppose I'm the vice president of sales. I don't know. I don't have that term as far as the attorneys are concerned. But that's how I became in that position. And over the last 2.5 years, I've sold $2.5 million worth of legal services. Just this week, so far, I've helped 4 clients move forward with legal services and closed 17,000 in sales so far this week. And I've got 5 clients pending. I've got 6 more discovery meetings to do tomorrow. I did 5 today. I did 5 yesterday. They've started having me do account receivables because, as we all know, well, graduates, you will know, college doesn't teach you how to make money. They teach you how to do the job. They don't teach you how to bill. They don't teach you how to set up any of the processes that you're going to need to build a business. So the attorneys that I work for over the last 5 years have had really poor accounts receivables. There's no one doing it. So we've got like 150 clients with over $5,000 in outstanding balances. So now I get to transfer over and start doing accounts receivables, trying to get, hey, how you doing? Yeah, we need $7,000 or we can't work for you anymore. And that's been a whole nother bag of worms. But I've been somewhat successful with it. There's a lot of stuff that needs to be changed, and there's a lot of changes that I've already proposed that need to be implemented. Otherwise, I won't be able to be successful in that. He's essentially cutting off my legs, telling me to walk through lava and not get burned. So, I mean, anti-fragile mindset. It doesn't matter. I'll do it, and I'll be successful. But that's been my path since before I joined Autonomy to where I am now.
Now, I noticed something just there that maybe you didn't. And you said, I get to do this thing. That to me is a mark of a positive mindset, of somebody who's willing to take the initiative And I'm curious if this has always been a part of your of your mindset, or if something that you've developed just in the past couple of years. Because a lot of people would see that as shouldering yet another burden for their place of employment. I have to do this. They'd say, "Oh, I have to do this," or whatever. You say, "I get to." So,
Mhm. Oh, in regards to the accounts receivable, I don't know if it's always been an aspect of my mindset. I know it's definitely there now. I know since autonomy, challenges are just opportunities for growth. I don't care what it is. Throw a brick wall at me. I'll break it down with my head. Whatever happens to happen, I know that nothing will stop me except for me if I really want to do something. So yeah, I mean, the accounts receivables aspect, it's a huge challenge. There's a lot of really angry clients out there because I work for attorneys. No matter how much I like the area of law, they're still attorneys. Ah, they're difficult. They're difficult individuals to deal with, but I'm gonna get them Bastiat to the law, and we'll see if that changes anything. But yeah, I mean, as far as that being like the mindset of being able to overcome anything, the anti-fragile mindset, I know it's definitely there now. Has it always been there? I don't think so. But I was a Marine, so I joined the Marine Corps when I was 26, and I knew that the fastest way to see my children again, who were 6 months old and 2 years old when I left for boot camp, was forward. There is no quit. So maybe since the Marine Corps have I developed that idea, and really it was this unformed blob, and now it's a fully fledged out mentality and ideal.
very well. Yeah, it's interesting that you took this, leap of faith too about responding to an ad. Would you say ZipRecruiter or Monster.com? I'm a little hazy on just which
What's it called? Indeed.
Indeed. Okay, Indeed.
Indeed.
Indeed. So when you're sitting there, so you're sitting there in the office with them, and you're like telling them all these things that you're going to do and how you're going to do them. Were you honestly expecting a positive response to that?
No, not at all. I didn't expect to get the job. I figured that was my way of holding myself accountable and throwing myself under the bus. But it worked. It resonated with them. One of their firm's values is candor, so they really appreciated that. Now, I don't think they actually hold to their values. I could call them out on many instances where they're not being candid, but that did respond well with them. So they appreciated the candor and the honesty and the forthrightness.
But you applied the principles that we learn in autonomy, the sales ethic that we learn in autonomy, to this job interview, and it worked out. Like, obviously, I mean, look at you now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm making decent money, but as with everything, the more money you make, the more money you spend. So, life is what it is. I purchased a vehicle. It's a nice. It's a 2015 Acadia GMC Acadia Denali. So I went through like three different vehicles. I had a van that blew up after Pork Fest last year, and I got stuck in Troy, New York, and it was, oh my God, Stephen Lawrence. My apologies, my friend. He had to get a ride with, I think it was Carlos and a couple of other individuals might be in here, that gave him a ride back, um, and I had to figure out how to get back to Illinois, and so I had to get a rental and went through two different vehicles. One, I bought this little stick shift, which I don't understand why, because I got bad knees and it sucked. And then it had an issue, so I tried changing out the starter. I didn't change the starter right, and I screwed up the whole thing. So I had to pop the clutch every single time to start it. Yeah, exactly. And working at a law firm, you're coming outside, and the attorney is like, "Hey, Ken, see you tonight," and you're pushing your car. You're like, "Yeah, see you tomorrow." It's not a good look. at
Uh,
all.
Why do you always park on a hill?
Yes, exactly. Trying to find parking was a pain in the butt because I had to be on a hill. I had to make sure I had room in front of me to push that sucker and pop that clutch. Definitely worked out my legs. That was nice. But I traded that in, got a Yukon Denali, and the payments were killing me. Like they're rough. It's like 650 bucks a month. But I can pay that. I can pay my child support. I can pay rent. I can buy food. I can buy my vices.
Hmm.
I can shoot darts most of the time, most nights. And I only run out of money for like 2 days. So I just don't eat for like 2 days at the end of the month. But that's my own fault for poor budgeting, despite how the amount of times that I've gone through wealth battle. Like I said, the only person that can stop me is me.
You went from being an outdoor cat to being uh, a fully realized Phoenix Aurora.
Amen. Yeah.
I'm super proud of you, dude, because it's actually not as easy as you make it sound, um, to overcome some of the obstacles that you were facing back in those days of living in a van and not being around your children. And uh, I can only imagine. But when
Well, I'm
I,
not done yet. I
yeah,
mean, the universe doesn't care what you're dealing with when it drops complexity bombs in your lap. The only thing that matters is how you respond. And like my youngest, she's a trans kid. She wants to be a boy. I'm dealing with fighting with that idea. I'm fighting with myself, or maybe I just accept it. Maybe that'll be easier for her. I'm my oldest is 18. She battles depression. I battle depression. I've been trying to rekindle and when work on my relationship with my children, and it's not easy. It's not easy at all, especially when I'm so ideologically different from them because I was always in and out. I wasn't there consistently, so now they have that resentment, and it's a big hill to get back up and actually build that relationship with my children again. And it's not done, but I'm not dead yet. So every day above ground is another day that I get an opportunity to show them that I love them and to be consistent with them. And they're actually opening up to maybe some family counseling, and their mom is open to it. I just got to convince my oldest, and I think we can actually start doing some group counseling sessions and maybe get past what it is that's actually holding all of us back and address our traumas as a family. Because I'm not perfect. I screw up. I've got vices. I drink too much. I smoke too much. I do too many drugs. I procrastinate, and I can be better, and I will. It just I need that support structure from my family. Autonomy is amazing. I can always rely on anybody that I need to. If I need to reach out to anybody, I know I can. But that's not where I want the support from. I want the support from my family. So it's not the same. And I know if I
yeah,
stick with it long enough, I will be successful. But I'm very pig-headed and stubborn, so maybe not, because maybe there's irreconcilable differences. But hopefully, that's what the family counseling will help address. And I'm not going to quit. I'm just going to keep plodding forward no matter what happens. And that's that anti-fragile mindset. That's the no quitting mindset.
absolutely. In fact, I was just about to ask, it seems to me that you've successfully applied the teachings of autonomy to your career. And would you, I was going to ask if you wouldn't mind shedding some light on how the teachings of autonomy have like helped you with your personal life, because there is a lot in the course that when applied to your personal life, you find great benefit in a way that isn't always marketed. You see, the sales and marketing aspect of it is something that is of great value in the course, but the other application of it, please tell us.
I believe the backbone of autonomy is the trivia method, the hyper learning. And when you couple those two concepts, you really understand that all conflict comes down to a misunderstanding in almost every situation. Almost like, okay, I can't paint with such a broad brush. The vast plurality of conflict is due to misunderstanding. And through that, I've tried to do my best to not be the stubborn, pig-headed, I'm always right type of individual, especially with my children, and try to apply that trivia method to learning them, to understanding what's the grammar that they're discussing, what's the logic, and then putting this stuff into practice and trying to connect with them on a personal level. And so with my oldest, she's really into Valorant and boys. So I know enough about boys, but I don't know much about Valorant. So I started learning the game and focusing, and then like being able to follow some like the major streamers and stuff, and the different characters. And her and I would watch. I'd sit there and watch her game for times, and we'd be able to discuss it. And I'd review her videos, and whenever she got an ace, I'd be like, "Yeah, that's awesome." And so I used the because I hate video games these days. I really do. I can't stand them. I hate it so much. It's a visceral. Oh, I detest everything about the video game industry these days. Too much graphics. It takes too long to load. Just give me ghouls and goblins. Give me freaking Link 2. Give me Final Fantasy 1. Those games were way better, and you just press the button, it starts. I stopped playing video games in 2004 and never really looked back. The only game that I've completed since then, I think, was Halo 1. That was good. But so it's been difficult for me to really kind of open myself up to video games again. I always feel like it's just a waste of time. Um, Especially when I started getting into Liberty and everything. It became completely useless. I resented it. And I get you, Chris. um, I really just resented the aspects of video games. So it's been difficult, but I'm using those trivium skills to get myself back into it, to understand where my oldest is coming from, and to be able to appreciate and connect with her on it. My youngest, she watches a lot of podcasts, and yep, I can appreciate that one. That's exactly what my oldest is, Chris. He said his 18-year-old who plays Fortnite. Yeah, that's exactly what my daughter is. Although she played Valorant, now that she's dating this other boy, he plays Fortnite, so she's getting back into Fortnite. I will collect anytime, sir. Um, so with my youngest, I started trying to understand the different podcasts that she's into. As much as it is difficult, the different aspects of the trans ideology that she has an affinity towards. And that's probably one of my biggest challenges, is trying to be okay with that, because I'm not okay with lying to her. I detest lying, and as far as as far as I'm considered, calling a trans individual by whatever they're identifying is misgendering, and I won't lie to her. So it's a very very difficult task, but she's my child, and I love her, and she'll always be my child. I don't care if she chops her hair off and goes by Mason, or if she goes back and starts identifying as a girl and wears her dresses again. I don't care about any of that. I just want to be able to connect with her, and for her to know that I love her and that I will support her no matter what. And I think a lot of what autonomy has brought to me is a greater sense of patience and understanding and humility. It's very difficult for me and her and I to have these conversations, but I try to be humble, and I try to set that example, and in hopes that she'll pick up on it, and that some of these commie tendencies won't be so ingrained. I even before she started identifying as a boy, I always was bringing up the trivium with her, throughout the last 4, 5, 6 years, ever since I found out about it. I would try to integrate these concepts and ask and have her talk about these things. And she was studying logic at the age of 9. When we both went through a logic course together, and she's amazing at it. She gets it. She understands logical fallacies and everything. And she's 16 years old, and she swears to God she's always right. And she's so good at it. She's so good, but she's still 16, and does not care if she's going to be completely irrational and using the fallacies herself. She's like, I don't care, whatever, I'm still right. So there's it's like going between, is this normal teenage angst or is this communist indoctrination? I can't tell the difference. So I just try to be patient and love her and respect her boundaries and her expectations and try to connect with her as much as I can. And a lot of that's due to the humility that I found through autonomy, as well as just the trivium base.
That is a very beautiful story, my friend. Very beautiful indeed. Um, kind of wanted to change gears a little bit because there's one other thing that we've yet to talk about, and that's you as a teacher. Let's talk about what you teach, where you teach it, and if you ever thought to yourself for a second that you would ever be doing that.
So I, for the last 2 seasons, have been teaching the Rainmaker sales training for autonomy. It's been an 8-week course, a 10-week course, and for season 13, it's going to be back to an 8-week course. It's billed Tuesdays, supposed to be from 8 to 10:30 p.m. It never ends at 10:30. It will go till 1 o'clock in the morning. I love this stuff. The first season, it was really just, hey, I've got a quick little, this is what I want to focus on. All right, let's go. This past season, I've really expanded it into full on like 15-20 minute lectures on the different aspects of the sales process and the whys. And it's really been a foundation for me to actually create my own sales course, which I'm pretty sure is why Rich started having me do it once he was like, oh, you take really good notes, you give really good feedback. Okay, you want to do this? Because start doing this, you're going to start making you're going to have enough content and enough understanding and knowledge to make your own course. And yeah, that's coming. This next season, I'm starting looking at setting up actual slides and getting a full on process going to where the students that are going to come into the Rainmaker sales training for season 13, it's going to be a completely revamped process. It's going to be a much more in-depth sales understanding. I'm going to have more slides. It's going to be not just me lecturing to a camera. I'm going to have a much higher production value. I'm going to start integrating OBS. I reset up my entire audio system for this, and it's going to be a lot of fun. I've had a lot of amazing students come through between Renee and Katrina and Richard. I think Richard was one of his names. There's been so many students that they get it. They understand the purpose, and it's probably one of the most rewarding things I've done next to being a father. Being able to help people understand how to help people. It's amazing. I could not ask for a better opportunity. And it makes me a better high value problem solver in my own right. I still refuse to do objection handling. The attorneys bought me this book, Objections by Jeb Blount. It's cabbage. The guy says stakeholder about 37 times in the first 12 pages. He's a fucking WEF stooge. And as my personal opinion, that is not a reflection of autonomy. But I feel that handling objections in any manner that's not ethical is theft. You're stealing from those people. You're manipulating them. You're acting in the worst way imaginable. It's not high value problem solving, and it's not sales. It's scams. And so I totally rejected that process. Now, our firm has transferred over to using the company called How to Manage a small law firm, HTM, and they've got their own sales process, which the attorney kind of enrolled me in. So I've been going through my own sales training every Tuesday. I'm sorry, every Monday from 1:30 to 3:30. I do 2 hours of my own sales training with them, learning their process. And it's fairly similar, although there's definitely things that I've picked up. And the facilitator, he meets my standards. Like, there's not a single thing that he's said that has been sleazy, that has been manipulative, even in relation to objection handling. Because he doesn't come at it in the same way that sales gravy does. He comes at it from dig into it, get curious, not furious. Dig into what it is that's truly behind what's holding them back, to empower them to make a courageous decision to change their lives. And that's the right way. That's what I like. That I like that concept about objection handling. I can dig that. So it's your namesake. His name's James as well, and he is an amazing sales coach. I really have learned a lot from him, and I really hope to transmit that into season 13 as well. So between my own ongoing training, my own ongoing course development, season 13 sales, Rainmaker sales class is going to be awesome.
Well, Phoenix, you're a force for sure. I'm super happy to have had you for Quest. And when the first time I ever met you at Pork Fest, we had only known each other via a chat room of our mutual friend Chris Jansen, who's also an Autonomy graduate. And your big uh, your big hug when we first met was very welcoming, and I knew that we'd be quick friends. And turns out I was right. I don't know, man. You're an inspiration, and I think of you often as somebody that is a success. And with that, I'd like to open up the room to anyone else that would like to
Well,
chime
before
in.
that,
And
I wanna just say I really appreciate that. I want to maintain humility. I don't want my ego to take over, but that means a lot. It really does. Um, for a long time, I knew that my purpose in life was to change the world, and I really think here in Autonomy I can do that. So thank you.
wouldn't say it if it weren't true, my friend. So, as I was saying, anyone else want to chime in, pick Phoenix's brain, or any other graduates that want to kind of tell a little story or whatever? Now
Hey,
is the time.
Phoenix.
Carlos, what up, my brother?
Good to see you, brother. And yeah, that story was epic when we picked Steven up from that car incident, but we got him home safely. But I did have a question. You mentioned earlier, and I kind of wanted to focus in on that because I thought it was really important how, you watched, was it week 8, the sales lecture over and over? And you also mentioned something similar to that when you were, living in your van and you were just watching a lot of podcasts. And so I was kind of curious. It appears to me, and I wanted you to elaborate on this. Did you it seems like there was a transformation that went on there. And I was like, what was it like? Did you become that salesperson before it seemed like to me that you became that salesperson, that transformation happened, like even before you got that job. And so I wanted you to elaborate on that.
Yeah, I'd say that's a fair assessment. When I was growing up, I was in love with the Dragonlance novels. It's all about elves and hobbits and halflings and knights and dragons. And I really identified with one of the characters, Sturm Brightblade. Sturm was not a knight, but he lived as a knight in his heart. And I didn't realize this at the time, but he was the basis for a lot of my moral foundations when I was younger. And because of those moral foundations, while I was going through the sales training and then watching these videos and everything, it just seemed like the morality that was behind Rich's method of high value problem solving fit. And nothing of it turned me off. Nothing seemed fake or manipulative or abusive. And so I think consuming that lecture 8, and it's driving me nuts that I can't remember the exact actual name for it. Empowering others, the method of powering others. I can't remember exactly. Dang it. But consuming that lecture 8 so many times,
The art of empowering others.
Thank you, sir.
And when you first said that, I was like, dude, I don't even know the name of the lecture. But once you said empowering, I was like, oh yeah, the art of empowering others. Because you're solving problems for them, and then they can also learn how to solve problems from that. It's like a copyable system.
And you can take it anywhere. But yeah, I definitely think that the moral basis that I had, coupled with just immersing myself in lecture 8, the art of empowering others, did definitely have a transformative effect on me. That, coupled with being in the community, talking to all of the other people, hearing everyone else's stories, you know, all of the different aspects of anarchy and the liberty movement, and all of the different groups and everybody's different ideals, from Stephen Kinsella to Mark Passio to Rich to James Corbett, to everybody. That's all I did for 10-15 years, was just obsess myself with this stuff. And not until I went through autonomy in the last 3-4 years did it all make sense, did it all click. And so yeah, I definitely think that there was a transformative aspect to those courses.
I want to know, how did you, like, unless you're not done answering that question, but work this into it. At one point you're doing Amazon and like busting your knees and all that sort of stuff, and then it occurred to you, I'm going to look at the market. And then you had the cojones to go to a law firm and be like, I'm going to do sales for you. Like, something happened between there that made you think to recognize and seize opportunity like that, and like the internal leap of faith in yourself that you're like, oh, I could go do that. I've done that in the dojo. I could do that for them.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't my first rodeo. The beauty about autonomy, like, you need to do 10 integration exercises before week 1. I did 15. I did all the integration exercises. Like, I mean, it was because I had the time available while I was driving, sure. But the method works. I had spoken to all of these people. I knew that as a Marine, it's just move forward. It doesn't matter. There's no quit. And as an autonomy student, it's anti-fragile. It does not matter what the world throws your way. The only thing that matters is how you respond. And so I think, yeah, all of that kind of coupled together to really say, hey, yeah, give it a shot. I didn't even really consider it a serious thing. I didn't really think that I was going to get the job. I was just like, hey, let's try. Okay, I've been studying all this stuff. Let's see if it pays off. One shot, one kill. Let's go sniper school. That's what this is. Autonomy is the sniper school of personal development. So I hope that answers both of your questions, Carlos and Rich.
You know, when Fenix got that job at the law firm, he had to do the interview, and he told them, you know, I'm not going to lie for you. And then he gave them my name as a reference. And I got a voicemail one day, and it was like, they need a reference. It's a law firm, and they need a reference for Ken. And it had been a couple of weeks, and I forgot that Phoenix's real name was Ken, so I didn't call him back. And then I realized, like, a month later, and I reached out to him, and I'm like, bro, I dropped the ball. He's like, oh, I got the job anyway. So, like, in my head, I was like, oh, I could have helped him get the thing, and he didn't, because I didn't pick up, you know. So anyway, it all came through, and he got it on his own merit without even having the professor come in and help him.
Yeah,
bravo,
I think
good sir.
it was hilarious. Like, that was so. And I remember at the time I was like so nervous. Like, do I have that type of relationship? Can I really ask Rich for a referral? Like, I don't know. Can I do that? And I was like, you know, whatever, dude. Shoot your shot. Who cares? Like, what's the worst thing that happens? He says no. Okay, then you move forward. So. But you also do lend yourself to, like, you're so accessible, Rich, through autonomy. Like the Q&As and everything. you genuinely do develop a real connection with you, like us as the students, whether we're graduates or brand new students. The accessibility that we have to you is phenomenal, and so it definitely does make a true connection, and you do feel like you're an approachable individual. It does feel like something that you're not stepping out of boundaries, you're not stepping on anybody's toes, and this is where we're supposed to make mistakes and fall. So if you do make mistakes, if you do step on somebody's toes, good, because that means you get to learn.
Yeah, it's about being in growth mode.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, if I could just grow past these light burns on my glasses.
And it's about, growth out of scarcity and into abundance.
Yeah, I just need to work on my budgeting better so I can have better abundance.
Hey, Phoenix, do you still do artwork?
I do. I've actually got a mural here that I'm doing on my wall. My sister asked me to wait until it was springtime to finish it. The spray paint kind of bothers her, and but yeah, I mean, I don't do it as regularly as I'd like to, but I've still got all the stuff.
Nice.
And I worked on I did a piece maybe 3-4 weeks ago. It was going to be for a friend of mine's birthday, and then I found out, oh, that's not for a couple of months, and so just kind of sat there. But I accidentally left it outside and it got rained on.
Oh, send pictures when you get a chance.
It's tossed by now. Yeah, I'd have to redo
I mean,
it. But
other ones, anything. I'll look at.
for sure.
I love your art.
Well, thank you. You can order one at any time. Send me a message.
Send me the website where you're selling it all.
All right, I see what you're doing here. I got it. Okay. I'll get together an Etsy page.
Just real quick, I just wanted to interject and make everybody aware that there are several links in the chat right now with plenty of time left on the clock to click on to not only book your blueprint for a success strategy call, but also check out the Autonomy Primer. The Autonomy Primer will give you a better idea of what what is in store for you when you join Autonomy, and if you should decide to pursue further. The Blueprint for Success strategy call is where you go to book your call with a graduate. You have about maybe 1 hour conversation where you get to learn more about whether or not autonomy is really right for you. And then you get to proceed even further. Also, the third link is to the Autonomy Mindset lectures, and those are for free and for your enjoyment. So please.
Yeah, the free layer has, so the mindset is anti-fragile, and then the other mindset is productivity, and the other one is growth mindset. And then there's the new masterclass, Fears Optional, how to evict your fears. And so there's like 4 free offers that help you get started so you can start preparing yourself for growth mode. That's the gist. The primer course is just so you can have total transparency, and the Blueprint Strategy Call gives you a better vision of what you could do with these skills in your future. It's essentially the system that we would all want to go through to make informed decisions without regret, but no one else goes through the trouble or thought to do something like this.
Sorry, I didn't know if we had to raise hands or anything.
Absolutely not.
Well, this is such a polite group, especially for being voluntarists, which I only have like rudimentary exposure to. Back in the early days in the Ron Paul movement, working with Jordan Page, that was the only way I even knew about Pork Fest. And he's still a good friend today. And it's like, oh, so this is what became of all those people.
I love Jordan. He signed a guitar that I made for him. He signed a spray painted guitar for an auction at Pork Fest last year, and he signed off on it. It was awesome. I love it.
Yeah,
I just texted with him a couple days ago. I mean, we text all the time, so you're in good company.
That's great. That's good. Well, and that's the thing is I never like made the leap because like New Hampshire was too far away for some stupid reason in my at that time frame. Probably still too far away today. But it's interesting because I've always wondered how I would fit among that group, and this is literally the only reason I came here is because one of my best friends, Chad LeBrow, posted that he was going to be in this, and I'm like, oh shit, I'll go join Chad. And he's nowhere to be found, and I'm like, oh, I know who these people are. So I'll probably do the call with you guys since I had no idea what I'm getting into. I'm really good at blundering into things. And Ken, I will get that beer. I'm only in Elgin, so we'll have to figure out when
For
we
real?
can meet in the
Oh,
yeah.
bro, I'm in Aurora. Heck yeah.
Rocco. Yeah, I'll just when I come down to see Chad next, he's down in your area.
Okay, heck
He's
yeah.
in Geneva. Yeah, yeah. So, but yeah, I would love to. I look forward to the call. It's good to know that the movement that birthed all of us crazies has some like legitimate purpose. Yeah, like I'm not trying to like belittle it because I was never really a part of it, but to see that it gets all growed up someday is pretty cool.
Well, I mean, we can't be free if everybody's broke and we're enslaved to like fear and debt and all these other things. So like, you know, after a couple of years of like people talking about the problems, I'm like, who's designing solutions? Like, where's your business people? Where's your entrepreneurs? There's tons of opportunity here. Right. So
right here. Yeah, but the fun part is that well, that's a very cool, and I think I'm still kind of learning what the right fit is, what it is that I do, where that intersects with the people who love liberty, and those are always going to be my people, regardless. I have like two major sections. I have to feel like I have two hemispheres in my brain. One is the liberty loving, and the other one is the God fearing. And the Pork Fest was always kind of like, well, you know, God may or may not be. You know what I mean? You really
they're seeing God, all right. With all those,
it's crazy. Yeah. No, I know. I was like, well, maybe it's best I couldn't make it. I don't know. But no, it was good that like I connected with so many people who shared my values. So this is my first introduction to you, Ken. This is my first introduction to you, James. And by the way, bang up job on this production. I mean, that's kind of my wheelhouse. And
I can definitely see like you have super creamy radio audio. I love your video. You got great lighting, unlike me with this sticky.
Yeah, we'll talk about what it is I do later. I don't want to steal the show, but I could not jump in there and say that, oh, I feel at home among the liberty minded, and I look forward to learning more about your organization. Ken, like I said, next time I get driving down 59, I'll text you. Shoot me a cell phone number. I'll get you in the Rolodex.
Christian, this might just be the luckiest stumble that ever happened to you.
It might be. It might be.
Yeah, dude, because if you love the liberty movement and you know Jordan, my wife and I funded the Free Rock song, and yeah, I mean, he's free now. So there was a long time when, like, we're friends with Landon. He stayed at our house many, many, many times because Rock used to be incarcerated here in Connecticut.
I basically lived in Gary Franchi's basement for about 3 years.
Oh, right on. Gary knows me. You know about his time machine, his Ferrari, and his all that good stuff.
Yeah. I've taken rides in him. I know what it's like. I used to be his producer a long time ago.
Well, then you got skills. Come over here and learn how to package those skills up.
Heck yeah.
I've got companies. I would love to find out what you think, whether I should be bouncing these things off of walls. I mean, you got lawyers in the room. We've got people who know how to do sales. That's like, man, I'm ready to rock. Let's talk.
And this is just a casual Thursday night meeting. That's like our, you know, this is how we put a ramp down for the public. Like, you know, lower the bar. It's like, you just come check out what's going on, catch the vibe. You know, because if people don't want to do like a blueprint strategy call with a stranger, is still like a fear. They're not at that point where it's like opportunity.
What am I getting into financially?
Right. And we tell people like no one's ever taken a credit card out during these calls. Like we need to make that more clear because they think we're trying to get them on the call to sell them. We just want to get on the call so that they can see the vision of what they could do with the skills, you know?
All right, Richard, I'll click the button. Jeez, it's just high pressure sales, dude.
It's the low pressure that sucks you in. Yeah.
Don't break your mouse by clicking so hard, dude.
Hey, Christian, if you do fill that out, I will find you and I'm going to send you the links for this weekend. We're actually starting the season tomorrow and Sunday. And I'm going to invite you in as a guest to check it out, the lecture portion. And, you know, there's so much to download into your brain about what's going on.
Try to get out, but you just kept reeling me back in.
Yeah,
Guys, the first rule of sales, when they say yes, shut up.
Oh, I thought it
Right,
was you don't
right.
talk about sales.
First, yeah, that's Fight Club, dude. There's difference.
My bad.
This is nom spokey. This is not nom. Yeah. Rock
Although
on.
Christian, yeah, I
I-
mean, I'm really excited to see you in here as a student. Like, I really like with what I can already tell your background is. I think you're definitely going to make amazing things moving forward. I can't wait to see
well,
what your unrealized dream is going to be. That
I
we're
have
going to help
been
you
like
create.
I've been like a high powered truck in the mud for over a decade. So yeah, it'll be good to get some planks under the wheels.
All I want to do is start asking questions. Oh,
Oh, well, it's not my show. We can do that after. I want to respect the host. I understand production is, man, and I know you guys are egoless just by default. I mean, but I really respect what you guys have pulled together here. I was trying to hold my tongue for about 30 minutes. So good job, guys.
Well, I'm prepping to create a new show here coming up soon. I've got a development meeting this Sunday. It's going to be called Good Faith Actor. I need production
Funny.
people. I need
I like that.
it's going to be a
Dude,
debate show
we'll
where
talk.
you have like a formal debate, Lincoln Douglas style, and at
I
the end
love
there's
it.
an additional portion where you have to restate your opponent's position without falsely framing it, without misrepresenting it, without
Debate.
lying. The whole point of the entire show is not to win the debate. It's to be able to be the individual who is voted as has been acting in the most good faith. Somebody who truly wants to
Wow.
understand their opposition. Because I want people that are vehemently
I
opposed to one another.
I would like to help you produce that just so that I could learn from it in the process, because I feel like, you know, I've raised 5 kids during this crazy life post Ron Paul. I mean, mid Ron Paul. And in that process, my wife is the staunch, she's always been the OG. She was our primary care physicians were Dr. Mayer Eisenstein and Joseph Baldino, and no, well, and not Baldino.
I think we have
Gosh,
Eisenstein's book. Lisa, don't we
yeah,
have
dudes.
that upstairs?
Yeah. So homeschooled, homegrown. Everything was done at home. I mean, we did everything, but we tried to get chickens, but Elgin wouldn't allow it. But I think we might be homesteading downstate a little bit later this year. But the interesting ploy in that is that I never got introduced to all of the amazing opportunities available in classical conversation methodologies, and the fact that we have logic. And you talked about logic. I'm like, man, I know this game, and because I know how bad I am at it. And when you were a victim, listen to me take the victim mentality. I know that's a no-no, but I was one of the no children left behind in the Bush era, and I had ADD before they knew what the acronym stood for. And basically they would put me in with these block classes, which was like me, 5 gearheads that basically predate Beavis and Butthead, if not were formative for them. The wrestling team, the football team, and one other really geeky kid that wore sweatpants all the time with a boner. And basically it was a recipe for an ass kicking on a daily basis. And I barely survived high school, but we all got berets at the end of the fucking year. You know, we all graduated. Sorry about the F-bomb, but that was it. That was the formative. Here's the education you get to live your entire life with. And maybe you'll get to college, but we really didn't prep you for that either. And then we homeschool. And the homeschooling world and the libertarian mindset around the homeschooling society really sets an entirely new stage for standards of what is structured education, what is memorization worth if it's not cramming the right things in. And it's never this teaching kids how to take tests well. And we fail at it horribly. I mean, 5 kids, you don't do it all perfect. The first 2 are amazing. We hope that the last one makes it. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. That whole logic thing. I would love to just be a student and a fly on the wall if I don't get to actually participate.
The
Not
autonomy
only that,
course is
but
amazing.
like the diagnosis of ADD, right?
Yeah.
What does that actually mean? Like your attention
Oh.
is supposed to pursue a focus and
Dude.
follow that focus through to completion. And if you're sitting there and it's like, where's the next step? And my attention wants to go to the next step. I got to wait for everybody else. Like it just means your mind was resistant to the indoctrination system because it actually got a grasp of education before you got there.
I don't know how long you guys want to do this. Like we'll have to put a pin in for discovering that, because it was during COVID that I learned how to microdose THC to manage my ADD so freaking perfectly. I actually am a powerhouse right now. I'm the opposite of what I was when I was in high school. And I know what I was. I know how the adrenaline system works in the brain now, and you become like a biohacker. And but like I said, you learned that by 50. Like, what does that get you? Showing up late. You know what I mean? It's kind of it's one of these things where I'm still figuring myself out, still figuring out the angles, still figuring out the trajectories. I'm happier with who I am. I'm glad I stood up for the things I stood up for when I took the chance to do it. But you know, I swore off of politics when I watched Boehner read a teleprompter on an iPhone on a YouTube video.
Well, Christian,
And I'm like, that motherfucker. So
the autonomy course itself, though, the main course is amazing. It's going to change your life.
Okay.
What's really going to change the rest of it is all of the plethora of additional content that becomes available once you're a graduate. There's multiple courses on logic. There's multiple courses on philosophy. There's multiple courses on logical fallacies.
We have a 12-week course on ethics.
Awesome.
I really think you'll enjoy a lot of that content. Like oh my God, I ravishly consumed it. It's some of my favorite stuff because I wanted to teach it to my kids, because I wanted them to not be manipulated, and now they're putting it back at me. It's more difficult.
That's why I owe you the beer.
What about the clubs, guys? What about the clubs?
Oh yeah, all the different.
Beat them with the club.
interest
Go ahead,
groups.
Agnieszka. Beat them with the club.
Yeah, do it right over his head.
Aggie, why don't you elaborate? What are the clubs? Can you elaborate on the interest groups?
Not in public, Jesus. There are different clubs. There's a public speaking club and a writing club and free form discussion where you just get to hang out and talk about whatever crazy things come to mind. And there are all these different things. There's going to be more starting in season 13. Oh, there's the creative writing.
Club, there's creative writing. There's club for creative expression. There's the Autonotos. There's public speaking practice. What other ones are we forgetting? Oh, Doc Rocks, Monday Night Movie Madness. That's like a club where they watch obscure movies in, like, you know, group setting.
We have May and the Magic Bullet too, with Old Maid Brussel broadcasts being,
yeah, he's from season 1.
Yeah,
Tim Flynn's, yeah. There's Agnieszka's not the only season 1 graduate that still comes around.
So is Paul Vert.
That's right. Yes, right.
I wanted to give Christian a heads up, because this is what happened to me. You see, I was invited into one of these Q&A calls on a Sunday, and here I am.
Renee, you look familiar.
Christian,
Renee, haven't you done podcast interviews recently?
Yes,
Weren't you SGT report?
All over the place.
I think I've met you. I think I've met you somewhere before, and I'm trying to decide if it was Freedom Fest or.
I've been on what is her name? Oh my gosh, Salon. What is that? Salon.
The Solari report.
No. Salon centric. No, Salon something or other. Niche, and yes, the whatever Sean of that other podcast.
Yeah, the SGT report. Yeah. Sean J. Turnbull.
I've been around a long time in private practice.
What's your club?
The club is the Club for Creative Expression. And Phoenix, I will ask that you bring your art. I didn't realize you were also an artist. You do so many things. And
you got to do art while you rap this time, just like Jerry did the Pythagorean theorem while he juggled.
Exactly. So be ready, because that looks like a phenomenal painting right there that I'd love to see you finish and speak about as to what inspired you.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting to get warming up so that I can put the fan in the window, because the spray paint just drives my sister crazy. So it's either that or I do it at like from 2 to 4 in the morning, and then she wakes up and it's not there anymore, and then I just get yelled at that I was spray painting at night. But I can't do that because property rights. You got to respect property rights above everything. But it will be finished eventually, and I've got some other pieces I can definitely send you.
Okay. We have a show coming up in July. Yeah, I think it's just the end of July. So at any rate, I just wanted to say to Christian, welcome. And like I said, it was one of these nice invitations that you get to attend a Q&A on Sunday, and then you never leave.
But unlike Hotel California, you are allowed, and you're even encouraged to leave. Like, get out of here and go apply what you've learned. Come back later when you got challenges. Many people do.
And many of us do, and many of us just, well, we're here 3 seasons later, so that's all I can say. And it's a delight. And you know, once you get familiar with the community and everyone else, it's just like, oh, family.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's family.
Or 13 seasons later.
Am I being referred by anyone? It says on the form.
Yeah, I referred you.
Yeah. All right, Richard. Hilarious.
Hey, Phoenix, can I say something about what you said earlier about your kids?
Only
Just
for
like
$20.
No, right.
Absolutely.
I was thinking your challenge with the propaganda and it having a hold on your child's mind. But then at the same time, I was remembering my mom's challenge when I was growing up, and it was like the 1981 in Poland and all of that shit going on, and a lot of propaganda, and even like lack of food and stuff like that. And she must have worried just like you're worried right now. But then I turned out okay. And then I was thinking about you and your military career and all that stuff, and you also turned out okay. So like, think about that more than you're thinking about in the danger. Like, you were in danger, I was in danger, everyone was in danger. It was just all different danger.
That's one of the main cores of what Dana Martin tries to teach. I spoke to her about this early on at Midwest Peace and Liberty Festival, and it was because I felt like I'd poisoned the well, and I destroyed my relationship with the kids, and there was no coming back from it. And you know, she really pointed out the fact that you just have to have faith. You have to trust them that they are listening and they are watching, and be patient. So yeah, I definitely pick up what you're laying down. Just love them. Doesn't matter, just be there and love them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I've been doing with my 18-year-old. He is the most free-willed person, which I couldn't be more thankful for someone. I mean, if we're really going to be truthful about being libertarian, right? You want people to have that will. And because what you're doing is you're trusting more than them. You're trusting that they're being held, and you're trusting that something that's holding the same thing that holds you holds them. And I think that's really that's getting into the spiritual side. But yeah, it is one of those things where I realized I was holding on too tightly, and that Chad was basically the guy who had pointed that out to me. He's like, dude, how long are you gonna hold on like this? I mean, you're gonna just choke it. You're gonna just hold on until you kill your relationship. You just gotta let them make.
That was literally what happened. It was a Sunday Q&A, and I was talking to Rich about missing time with my kids.
Bro, I still have that. I still show that piece of paper in the studio because it's on the clipboard. So we were just doing an exercise. So it's the first part of the course. I teach you guys, first off, we got to break the ice because people are introverted by nature. Like 90% of people who come through here are introverts, and there's a couple extroverts to be like, here's how it's done. So the first thing we do is we do the interview exercise, and I give you guys a template, and you interview Phoenix, and Phoenix interviews you. And now you both kind of have a knowledge set about each other, but you apply it across the different students. Now you have an equal knowledge set about everyone here. So you have a better, more clear, like solid foundation for relationships than high school or work or a lot of other places, because you don't do this process, right? So once everyone's comfortable with each other, Now we're comfortable to fail in front of each other, and that's where the real learning begins, because you're not failing until you tried something and it didn't work out. Like, you're not winning, you're not succeeding, right? You got to go through those failures. So you have to create the environment comfortable for failure. Then we get into the sales dojo, and then they have a template, but it's not a script. It's a methodology. So it's a set of steps that you have to work through. And then once you learn how to work that, now you're operating on a different level. And when other things happen, you know how to be able to like have the conversation and thoughtfully respond. And that's 90% of the game right there. Is like Fenix has said many times tonight, you can't control what happens, but you can control if you react or if you thoughtfully respond. And that's the freedom in between is the difference.
And to kind of double back on that concept of holding on too tight, that was something that Rich really helped me to realize. It was during COVID. I was missing time with my kids. I didn't go to a haunted house because they wanted me to wear a mask, and I refused. And I missed the entire weekend with my kids, and it was horrible. And he got me to understand that for so long I had held the idea of having that perfect shining integrity and being 100% consistent anarchist libertarian, and that's the example that's going to change the world, and you just have to hold true and grab that freaking rose so tight that the thorns kill you. And he helped me to realize that I wasn't wrong, but it's a misalignment of what my values were. I didn't really have my values aligned properly. Like liberty, honesty, integrity, yeah, that's good, but family's up here. And I was sacrificing my family, my higher value, for my lower values. And I was holding on too tight to that. And that was a watershed moment for me as well. There's been so many different huge breakthrough moments that I've had since I joined Autonomy. I shudder to think what my life would be if I had never joined. But yeah, absolutely holding on too tight. James, how we doing on time? I start doing a discovery meeting with Christian now.
We're coming up on the close here. We'll work to wrap it up now. I just kind of wanted to add in about trust. Trust is often a reciprocal thing. And as parents, you teach your children trust through your actions while they're little. They can trust you. And then when they know they can trust you, they perform in certain ways that you learn how to trust them. So by the time that they're out of their early formative years into adolescence, teenage years and everything, you kind of have a better grasp of who they are as a person because of all that trust that's been built. There's a good solid foundation there to build the rest of the building on. And I kind of wanted to add that in. As a homeschooling dad, it is something that I think about often, about trust, the level of trust that my children have with me. And yeah, that's going to turn into the trust I have for them eventually, because they're kind of like little kids. They have a will of their own. They have opinions of their own, but they still have to kind of like wait around for me to help them with things and stuff like that, so.
For God's sake, please just teach them to pre-drill the holes.
No.
You're getting lucky.
I heard something recently that makes a ton of sense. It talks about and kind of this evolutionary idea that by default, between the ages of like 16 to 25, when we're in those last stages of frontal lobe development that us men all go through, which is why we all think into our 70s that we're still 25 years old, is just because our brain stopped at 25. That's where that happens. But you start to witness that in your kids, because your kids are still just kids until they hit that rebellion point. And so Evan's really the first to hit that point. Sorry, I'm dropping names like everybody knows. I have 3 more boys behind him on top of this. So he's just the first to cross that Rubicon. And my daughter was before that the oldest of the boys, and she was a dream. That was easy. I'll take girls all day long. I just line them up. That is the easiest thing in the world to raise so far in my experience, my limited experience. But this evolutionary statement is that in order to prevent inbreeding, you literally are at that age biologically predispositioned to push yourself away from your tribe for a period of time. And then all of a sudden, snap, 25 years old, your dad is brilliant again. And I wonder, I wonder if that's like a big factor. I think that very well, I think that's been a good description of what I think I'm witnessing. And now I'm just kind of holding out to, we'll run that experiment on this first one and we'll see how well that shapes out. But it seems to make a lot of sense that there's a lot of this encoding in us to push away from our parents at a certain age. And I know I did it. I was probably chief offender. So, yeah, just, it's interesting that we all are, we're all now the parents. And I don't think anybody was ever expecting that to happen. I feel like I don't know anyone who was like, man, I planned on this all along. So
I remember being, 2001, graduating high school and being like, yeah, I'll never be old. What are you talking about? And then it's 24 years ago. Good Lord. Yeah.
Right.
Well, with that, gentlemen, and everyone else in attendance, I'd just like to say thank you for your time, Fenix. Christian, very nice to meet you. Welcome. I hope to see you again.
Thanks.
And everyone else in attendance, thank you for being here. This has been Autonomy Quest, and we have one more of these next week, as far as I know, if everything goes as planned. And we'll see you then. So thank you.
All right, see you guys tomorrow night for lecture 1.
Yeah,
Christian,
lecture 1.
I'm sending you my my number in the group chat. So
cool.
All right, good night, everybody. Good to see you.
Bye, Leah. Bye, Rich. Bye,
Beautiful,
Holly,
beautiful.
Doc, Lisa.
thank you
Renee.
all.
Good night,
Thank you,
everybody.
Rich. Thank you, Leah.
Thank you, everybody.
James.
Ciao, guys.